The way I look at it, a lack of calmness can cause, well, a chain reaction. Having a reaction to a stimulant, especially if it's a bad reaction, it already fuels the fire that's burning. And depending on its nature, will dictate whether it spirals out of control or not. So, in my mind, as long as you stay calm, for the most part, you'll have a certain amount of control on the situation, even if it may not seem like it. If you give that fire nothing to feed off of, eventually it will die out pretty quickly and it will create a much less destructive environment. And the practice of restraint is essential. And I'm going to be honest with you, your pride is going to get crushed time and time again. In these situations where you find yourself trying to be calm when, for example, someone is provoking you or pestering you, you are going to forgive my language, but you are going to feel like a bitch because it may feel like you're not standing up for yourself, but that's where you're mistaken. By remaining calm, you are standing your ground because at that point you just become an immovable and impenetrable object, but only if you keep your cool. But how do you actually remain calm in the first place? I mean, I could have said a bunch of stuff like, take deep breaths, count to 10 or something cliche like that. But I mean, obviously, I can only ever talk on the things that have worked for me. One very important thing is that you need to stop taking things so seriously. For example, when someone makes fun of you, you need to learn to stop taking whatever they say seriously, especially if you know that it's not true. I'm not saying to play it off as a joke or go along with um the format which they've displayed it in. If they've made fun of you thinking that is a joke, I'm not saying to go along with that because it's not a joke. Nobody deserves to be made fun of. But do not take it seriously. Look at it as something that you should have pity on because, again, nobody deserves to be made fun of. So, in the end, it's not really funny, is it? What has happened to you to make you feel like you need to insult someone when you have your own life to worry about? Not one of us is perfect, but we'll be so quick to judge another who is imperfect. Like, do you hear how stupid that sounds? Another thing I would say is sometimes just don't say anything. Before having a response, sometimes just give it a few seconds, maybe a few moments, just stand there in just pure silence. And sometimes just don't say anything at all. Respond with silence if you can, because not everything needs an answer, or even deserves one, especially if it's something stupid. Understand that even now, at this adult age, people behave exactly the same way now as they did when they were in school. They try too hard to be funny, they try too hard to be cool, and it's just not worth investing your own time into. Because in the grand scheme of things, it's pathetic. The constant need for gratification or validation from others, which means that you act like such an imbecile, is honestly just poor. And my last one is just very simple. I acknowledge the fact that things will never be sunshine and rainbows. As soon as you do that, you'll be much better off. No matter how afraid you are, then bad things are going to happen to you. There's nothing you can do to stop that. You cannot stop the external. The external is always going to be there, but you can definitely have an impact on the internal, what you think of it, how you perceive it. But accept that these external factors are always going to be there, they're always going to happen. It's not the first time they've happened, it's not going to be the last time. They may even happen every single day of your life from now until the end of your days. But it's your internal factors that actually control whether they have an impact on you.